Good evening, hello and welcome to Brass Tacks. I'm Anusha Soni. A political storm is brewing in the state of Telangana after 3 people were arrested for allegedly trying to poach 4 MLAs of TRS. That's the allegation. Now, the ruling party TRS has accused the BJP of trying to poach its MLAs, alleging that BJP is using money and muscle power. BJP, on the other hand, has refuted all charges, calling this as an entire conspiracy which is hatched in connivance with the Telangana police. That's the response of the BJP. Now, all these developments unfold in the wake of the upcoming by-polls in Moinabad. There's no doubt that BJP has been aggressively trying to expand into the state of Telangana to fill a political void, to capture the space. But is there enough evidence to show that BJP made an attempt to poach the MLAs? Apart from the political slugfest, is this entire incident just an indication of the rising political temperature in the state, or there's actual substance to prove the charges made by the TRS? We explore all angles on Brass Tacks tonight. First up, a special report.
High drama in Telangana ahead of the high-stakes by-polls in Moinabad. Allegations of poaching and Operation Lotus are flying thick and fast. In a sensational turn of events, cops swooped down on a farmhouse on the outskirts of Hyderabad and caught 3 men in the act of bribing 4 MLAs of the ruling TRS. The cops were tipped off by one of the MLAs, who claimed the accused offered 100 crores each to switch sides to the BJP.
BJP is known for toppling state governments across India. But one thing is clear out today, that KCRG's MLAs are not for sale.
The BJP accused TRS of doing drama because it is staring at defeat in the upcoming by-polls.
बिल्कुल बेबुनियादी है, जानबूझकर मुनगोड़ में हारने वाला है, आने वाले चुनाव में टीआरएस जाने वाले है, एक नया मुख्यमंत्री आएंगे, उसके बचने के लिए अलग-अलग नया जिम्मिक्स डेली केसीआर तेलंगाना में हमारे ऊपर कर रहे।
Moinabad will be going to polls on the 3rd of November. And the by-polls are being seen as a precursor to next year's assembly elections in Telangana. For the TRS, winning the by-poll will be crucial as the party's founder KCR is unveiling his national ambitions.
भारत माता की!
But a win for the BJP will establish it as the sole challenger to the TRS. So is the poll rhetoric only going to get shriller from here on?
Well, let me open this question to our guests as well who are joining us on the broadcast. We'll have Mr. Krishna Sagar Rao, who's the spokesperson of BJP from Telangana. Mr. Khalikur Rahman from TRS is also with us on the broadcast. Arshpreet Singh Kadial of the Congress Party. And A. Sai Shekhar, who's a political analyst, is also joining us on the show. Mr. Rao, let me come to you first. There are various allegations that have been made in that FIR which has been registered by the Telangana police. In fact, I also think that BJP has demanded an inquiry by the Election Commission into this entire matter. But the allegation is that you tried to poach the MLAs. That's what TRS is saying. Do you think there is any substance to all of these charges which have been made?
Zero substance. Actually, all the allegations are very clearly pointed at maligning Bharatiya Janata Party and besmirching the image of the party as we are rising in Telangana. And the accusations doesn't have any basis. These are all false accusations and allegations. And none of these individuals who are in the incident have anything to do with Bharatiya Janata Party. They are neither the members of the party, nor leaders, nor the cadre. So I don't understand as to how anybody can connect the dots except the wild imagination of KCR and his party as to BJP is involved in this. And if at all anybody is buying MLAs in the state, it is KCR and his team. They have got about 91 seats in the last election. That's about more than 90% of the election outcome, that is 119 seats. And then they go ahead and on a shopping spree buy more than 12 to 14 Congress MLAs. And today they are over 100. What would we do with 4 MLAs at 400 crores as they allege? I mean, Bharatiya Janata Party, when a crossover of an MLA happens to our party, they have to resign and go for a poll. So why would we take 4 people, and how can we topple a government with 4 people?
Okay, Mr. Khalikur Rahman. Mr. Khalikur Rahman, that's a fair point to make. That's a fair point to make. What would the BJP do with 4 MLAs? If one were to believe your argument that they are building some kind of a coup or they're trying to poach MLAs, What would they do with 4 MLAs? It doesn't even mathematically make sense if they wanted to form a government in the state.
See, this is just before the run-up to the bipole election, which is happening in next 4 days in Moinabad. But the actual planning of the BJP is the 2024 election, that is, the next year. I mean, 2023, which is happening next year. So they had already started approaching our MLAs. These, the agents and the power brokers, they have, for the last 1.5 months, they have been chasing our MLAs, and they have already told them that you switch over and this is the amount which will be paid to you, and plus, you'll be awarded with a contract. And if not, then you also be prepared with the dire consequences, then, because there are agencies who will, crack down on you.
Mr. Rahman,
I'm coming to that. Allow me to finish.
Yes.
Then our MLAs were actually waiting for the right opportunity, because what happens is, because then yesterday evening, when these 3 gentlemen was there, then one of our MLAs informed the police so that these 3 could have been caught red-handed. So that's what exactly happened. Otherwise, if 1 month back, as mentioned in the FIR, that is 26/9. 2022, that is about a month back. If at that point, if our MLA had gone, then everyone would have asked for the evidence. What the evidence?
No, Mr. Rahman, I take your points. I take the facts that you've put on record. But it's one thing for politicians to make allegations on each other. It's another thing for the police to register an FIR. And because there's an FIR and an investigation which is underway, that's why I'm asking you this question, to bring in more substance. What is the basis and legal and evidentiary basis on which you're saying that this was an attempt by the BJP? Because none of the people who've been arrested are actually BJP leaders or have any kind of membership of the BJP. So what is the basis on which you're saying this?
See, all these people, do you think that the BJP will send their leaders directly?
No, I don't think so, but I'm wondering that if you're saying this, there must be some kind of evidence. That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking.
BJP is not so naive, and BJP is not so innocent that they would send their top-run leaders or even the state leadership to our MLAs to, pouch them. So these are the agents of the BJP who, approached our MLAs, and then they, made an offer to these people, and that is how, the entire nexus between the BJP leaders and these, the power brokers or the agents, can be established, actually, if you ask me.
No, sir, but other than what you're saying or what TRS is claiming, what is the evidence on record? Because the police on record has not said that this is from the BJP side. So that's why I'm asking you this question.
The police is investigating the matter. Our MLAs have already given the evidence to the police, and the police, is corroborating the facts. And then police will definitely, issue their statement, the complete details with the evidence. So you'll have to wait for that, actually. But this is the Operation Lotus, which BJP, unsuccessfully tried to do this year, because they have, been successfully able to do this in the other 9 states. They were able to, topple the governments in the other 9 states. But unfortunately,
with all humility, your argument is circular. I'll tell you why. Because that's what the BJP leader was saying, that 4 MLAs with 4 MLAs, we cannot topple the government. So even if you argue that this is Operation Lotus, then what would they do with 4 MLAs?
No, that's what I'm telling you, because their main eye is on 2024.
Okay.
And moreover, they wanted to send across a message to the voters of the Moinabad. They wanted to change the perception of the voters of Moinabad, saying that these 4 MLAs have come to us. But little did they realize that these 4 MLAs are transparent, obedient, and loyal to the party.
Okay, Mr. Rao, that's a point that you must answer, that maybe you won't be able to form a government with the 4 MLAs poaching, considering the strength of the BJP in the state. But you wanted to send across a message, because you're taking the bypolls very seriously. You want to project that the big leaders from the TRS are leaving the party and joining the BJP, and that is why this was some kind of an Operation Lotus, as TRS calls it, that was being conducted in the state. Respond to that allegation, sir. Mr. Rao.
The Operation Lotus of Bharatiya Janata Party is only about giving development to the people. When they vote or not vote for us, when they don't vote for us as an opposition party, we'll voice their issues and then we'll bring them development. That's what Bharatiya Janata Party's Operation Lotus is. The rest of it all is a figment of imagination, where I don't need to actually explain as to why Bharatiya Janata Party will not do what it just didn't do. So how do I don't have to defend this. It is the burden of defense, burden of proof is on TRS to show that how is BJP related here and why is BJP related here. We have 8 months to go for an election, which is a state assembly election. Would any party do this kind of a misadventurism? We are a matured national party. We never have any principle of getting, horse trading MLAs directly and then making them ministers. We never did that. We don't have a precedence of that. Now, what is all this story all about?
All right.
See, TRS party is actually indulging in a self-goal. This will backfire badly because people of Telangana understand Bharatiya Janata Party is only trying to pitch development, nothing else. And whatever these games are, this is going to rebound on them. That is why today there was a press conference by CM KCR.
Mr. Krishna Sagar Rao argues that BJP is a matured political party. And, it doesn't, 2 plus 2 doesn't add up. I mean, there is no reason why they would try and poach 4 MLAs at a time when, according to the BJP, that TRS is already losing out on the popularity. And more importantly, there is no evidence in the public domain other than the political whataboutery to establish all the allegations that have been made. Respond to that,
It
Chand.
is their word against our word. So the courts have
Allow me to say.
Mr. Rehman Saab, I'll come to you. I'll come to you. Let Arshpreet make an argument. I'll come to you.
Okay.
Arshpreet, go ahead.
Thank you. I did not interrupt anyone. I hope nobody will interrupt me.
Nobody will interrupt you. Go ahead.
Please go ahead.
Operation Lotus has now become an epidemic. It is more dangerous than Corona was to India or is to India. Now you see, BJP has this great legacy, this great pattern that I would like to say here. Goa, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Assam, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Arunachal, Manipur, Meghalaya, Punjab, and now Telangana. So Bharatiya Janata Party has time and again been conducting Operation Lotus, and no ED, no CBI, no IT department has done anything about this. We do not understand why. And it is a matter of fact that all opposition parties have ED cases pending against them. Mamata Banerjee's nephew, M.K. Stalin's daughter, Sharad Pawar, Kejriwal, Rahulji, and all those opposition parties, but not one BJP leader. I request the ED to do something about this so that they can take up their conviction rate from 0.5% to something better than that. And number two, now some gentlemen on this debate said that the people who were offering money there weren't the people of the BJP. I do not understand how people become judge, jury, and executioner. There's something of this sort has happened. One, it has been claimed by the Cyberabad police. And number two, an inquiry has to be done.
No, the police has not said they come from BJP. The police has not said they have links to the BJP. Just to put the facts on.
I'm sorry. I'd like to add a little fact here.
Yeah.
See, one, everybody knows it for a fact that a recovery has happened. Everybody knows that a party's MLAs were poached, and everybody knows who has the motive here, who has the means here, who has the opportunity here. And number two, let's not become judge, jury, or executioner, but there is a good pattern here. And there is a good history here. There's this massive legacy of the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Okay.
So all we are saying
Arshpreet, you've made your point. Arshpreet, you've made your point. Mr. Rao, I think it's only fair that I take that question to you. There's a history and legacy in Karnataka and Madhya Pradesh and Goa, and that is why all the opposition parties are raising questions on you. You must answer.
I can actually explain, my friend, there that the only history Bharatiya Janata Party has is that Vajpayee losing the entire government for one vote. That is the history, that's the legacy. The rest of all is a constitutional provision which allows parties, when they break, to align with another party. You can show me one example where any MLA has crossed over from one party to our party and we added that number to be in the government. It never happens. It is only the parties which implode and a breakaway faction constitutionally joins us. That is the only time Bharatiya Janata Party has formed governments when the other governments fell. So we are a very carefully respected party which will follow constitutional means of coming into power. That might look unethical for you, but that's the political constitutional back end of this country.
No,
that if
Mr. Rao,
a party implodes and if the two-thirds
Mr. Rao,
go out,
I think
or
the
if
question
they
that the
form a
Congress
unit,
or the
what
TRS are
happened in
also raising
Maharashtra,
here.
what happened in
The
Madhya Pradesh,
question that
what
the
happened in
Congress and
Rajasthan,
TRS
what
are
happened
raising here
anywhere,
is largely the question of how money and muscle power is being used in Indian politics. They are also accusing that the BJP is using these means, and despite this, there is no central agency which is going after the BJP leaders. That's what the argument was from Mr. Rahman also. Please respond to that.
See, when for over 75 years now, the biggest complaint of this country was, why is corruption not being rooted? And where is corruption centered? And every child in this country knows that it is the politicians who are looting this country. And that is why the government, Modi's government, has taken up corruption, rooting out corruption as a key agenda. And if you're doing a job which none of the other parties earlier or the governments earlier haven't done, you should be actually congratulating us, admiring us.
I do want
to politician who has not been corrupt and we have attacked him, or we have sent the agency there, or the independent agencies are behind investigating.
Well, I am sure that Ajpreet and Mr. Rahman have a lot to say responding to you. I do want to bring in Sai Shekhar as well into the discussion. He's been patiently waiting as he heard all the political spokespersons speak here. Mr. Shekhar, I'm coming to you. When you see this investigation which is underway, political temperatures rising between the BJP and the TRS, how do you see these developments, not just legally in terms of the investigation, but politically speaking, how does this entire controversy really translate for Telangana's politics?
Yeah, BJP has been trying to, steal the thunder from the TRS, which has been on the roll and has been on a winning spree for quite some time. And BJP has adopted a strategy to perhaps this particular episode, if I can say this, taking reference from my friend Mr. Krishna Sagar Rao, since the police have not named the BJP, maybe it is trying to ensure that the internal implosion happens in the TRS, and then they will democratically, within quotes, walk over towards the BJP, and then the BJP may see greener pastures in its prospects in Telangana. This is one point of view which I would like to make.
Sure.
But then BJP has been systematically trying to increase its base and democratically participate in the democratic process and hog the limelight in the state. But then TRS, for whatever worth it is, because TRS being the party that has championed the cause of an exclusive Telangana state, carving of an exclusive Telangana state from Andhra Pradesh, and then after running a protracted movement for 13 years, and after becoming the chief minister, KCR has delivered. That is why they were re-elected in soon after their term ended. Almost, it was advanced by about 3-4 months, but soon after the term ended, when they went to polls, the people favored the TRS and not the BJP. And by then, it's not as if BJP government was not there at the center. Mr. Modi was the prime minister for the first term, during the first term of TRS also. And BJP has now realized only after the GHMC elections, where it could make some inroads. Even though BJP did not become the single largest party in the Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation elections, they sensed some, maybe I can say they tasted blood, and they wanted to work in this direction, that they can poach MLAs.
Mr. Rao, it's only fair that I let you respond to that. The allegation which is being made here is that some kind of implosion within the TRS was being constructed. Respond to that, charge.
That is what Krishna Sagar has just now said.
Yes.
So, since the FIR did not mention any BJP leader, they are using external forces to ensure that there is an implosion within the TRS. Maybe that is a great expectation the BJP is now nursing. But then they should also understand that it's a mountain and squirrel.
Okay. Mr. Rao, please go ahead. Mr. Rao, please go ahead.
Yeah, what Mr. Shekhar is talking about is the possibility of an implosion. I didn't even say that. I said, if you're talking about the history of Bharatiya Janata Party, referring to cases all the, Mr. Rahman has referred 6-7 states. I said each case, if you take and list out and see that we have never frustrated any MLAs. It only happened when the governments there imploded within their parties and they have lost their governments. That the recent example is Shiv Sena. What is Bharatiya Janata Party do with the Shiv Sena breaking up? So referring that back to TRS, how can we create an implosion? We cannot manufacture implosions, and that too at the fag end of when it is 8 months to go for an election. It will be a fool to do that. Somebody who's foolish and
Arshpreet, you had a point to make, and that's the point I want to take to you as well. What Mr. Krishna Sagar Rao is arguing,
as I said,
that if the governments in Madhya Pradesh, in Karnataka, in Goa, if these were illegally, unconstitutionally formed governments, then the courts would have interfered in this country. These are constitutional, quote-unquote, democratic means through which governments are formed. And if you have a problem, you should have gone to the High Court and the Supreme Court.
Go to court.
Number one. See,
exactly.
If you may please hear me out. See,
yes.
Number one, it's not that nobody has tried. Everybody has tried. We have spoken about it, not just in PCs and debates, but also in courts. But apparently, it takes time, and they say that sooner than later, justice is delivered, and we will make sure the Bharatiya Janata Party is brought to justice. And number one, everybody can see the dots. They are very, very, clear. Everybody can connect them. See, number one, there's a massive history. Everybody knows. I've already told you the states. Number two, there is this, incident that has happened. There's a recovery that has been made. Who possibly had...
No, Arshpreet, you're shifting contours. I was talking about a different point. No, you raised a very specific point that there is a history to what BJP is doing. Yes. And I'm arguing, BJP is arguing, that's the point I'm taking to you, that if these were illegally, unconstitutionally formed government and BJP is actually involved in money and muscle power, then why haven't you approached the courts, and why isn't there a judicial intervention in these matters? Because you could have gone to the court and courts would have heard you, right?
See, number one. Now, just because there are times, when people commit corruption and they get away with it, even after going to courts for a lack of evidence, for the witnesses not being there. And when somebody is too smart in conducting something, like you said, that, these persons who were offering bribe were not from the BJP. Now, it is understood that any party who has to do something of this sort would not send its own leaders to conduct it. That is why it would take time, but I promise you, everything that has been committed in a wrong fashion in the country, every single party every person and every party would be brought to justice for that. Number two, you also said that, 4 MLAs, why would the Bharatiya Janata Party want to have 4 MLAs? What difference would it possibly make? See, even a big, massive building, starts with the setting of a brick, one brick. And then it goes on to further creation. So therefore, any party would want to start here. All we are saying is that why does the Bharatiya Janata Party have to avoid and avert an inquiry? Let there be an inquiry by a sitting judge, and not just in this particular case.
So then for that you have to move a court. For that you have to move a court. For that you have to move a court. Let me bring in...
1 second, please.
Yeah.
When there would be strong evidence, cogent evidence, only one can go to the court only then, because in Punjab also, when Operation Lotus was allegedly conducted, an FIR was registered against unknown people. However, nobody has been nabbed as of yet. Now,
Mr. Khalikur Rahman, there are a lot of questions which are raised on the sanctity of this entire investigation. BJP is on record to say that the Telangana police is hand in gloves and connivance with the government, and this is a big conspiracy that has been hatched to defame the party. There is also a demand that there should be some kind of court monitoring that can be done or an intervention from the Election Commission, because there is no trust on the Telangana police authorities. Respond to that.
So let me tell you, because the BJP, in fact, tried to tarnish, the image of the TRS, which is going to become the BRS at the national level, because BJP sees TRS as a major threat at the national level. So before that, then they thought that this is the right opportunity that they turn the table, and what we were alleging against the BJP, they thought that let us go for the counter-attack. So that is how they have just started counter-attacking without any substance, without any basis. Just and knowing fully well the Operation Lotus which they have already started doing, but it failed and it was foiled by the Telangana police. And as far as the Telangana police is concerned, let me tell you that they are not under the pressure of anyone. They are doing the complete independent inquiry, independent investigation, and it is the responsibility of the police, and police has been given the free hand to do the investigation. And I just want to take you back to Maharashtra, what Mr. Krishna Sagar was saying, that the Shiv Sena, it just had the internal, explosion, and because of that, in a very constitutional manner, they, came and formed the government there. But who were the people who took them all to Gujarat, who gave them the support? And from Gujarat, in a private jet, they were all, shifted to Assam. So, I mean, can't you, join the dots here and then come to a conclusion?
Sir, I really hope that these dots can be joined even in that investigation which the Telangana police is doing. Mr. Sai Shekhar, I'm coming to you for one analysis. Why is this bypoll so important? We have seen BJP take even municipal elections very, very seriously. And they have thrown in their entire political weight to make sure that they gain more and more ground in the state. How do you see BJP making inroads? Can they really, get more success in the upcoming elections, especially in the bypoll, that larger context, sir?
In the very outset, when you have introduced the topic, you were talking about a political vacuum.
Yes.
Actually, there was no vacuum, but since most congressmen were veering towards the TRS, Congress legislators were veering towards the TRS, Congress has inherently become weak in this state, and Congress has committed a cardinal mistake of joining hands with the Telugu Desam in 2018 election, and with that Congress individuality has been lost. And this is where BJP got alerted, and BJP decided to set its eyes on the Telangana state. And when in the Dubbak by-election, when the BJP candidate with a wafer-thin margin made it to the state legislative assembly, BJP got emboldened. And then in the process, as I have already said, they want to identify individual MLAs and get them on board into the BJP, and then make them resign, and then thirst an election on the state, by-election on the state, and get elected. This BJP has been systematically trying to create a perception, and TRS is now engaged in a perception
any smart political party would do. Arshpreet, I'm coming to you. You made a few points about Madhya Pradesh, Goa, various other states, the state of Karnataka as well. The argument that comes from BJP and also some political commentators is that if the Congress party is not able to hold its own house in order, you're not able to keep your flock together, or there are leaders within your own party, within the grand old party, where there is a huge ego clash or factional politics, that's why you're suffering. And BJP is just getting some collateral advantage out of it. Why are you blaming them? That's the argument. Respond to that.
Well, the problem with the Bharatiya Janata Party is that this defection comes at the expense of democracy. The democracy that has taken so much, and it has been so hard for India to get. And the Bharatiya Janata Party is just doing away with that. The problem here is that just because till date nobody has been able to take action does not mean that the Bharatiya Janata Party hasn't done anything. Like I said before, there's not one ED case pending against them, and no matter how big the recovery is, there have been many times when things have been brushed under the carpet. Therefore, we demand an inquiry by a sitting judge. Number two, see, one thing is for sure, that it's not just like that. In around 10 states, hundreds of MLAs had a change of heart, a change of mind. We should migrate from our party to the Bharatiya Janata Party for no reason. There have been instances wherein they have had cases of ED, IT and CBI, and the moment they go into the Bharatiya Janata Party, they all get quiet. As if Bharatiya Janata Party,
you did not answer my question. You weren't able to keep your flock together.
As if the Bharatiya Janata Party had some washing machine.
TRS, even if I were to take the argument of TRS on face value, at least they were able to keep their flock together in their favor. That's the argument. Congress was party was not able to.
Number one. See the leaders that have gone into the Bharatiya Janata Party. We are happy about that because the people who can go to the Bharatiya Janata Party, why would they not leave the Bharatiya Janata Party?
All right, that's all the time that I have, and I really hope that this investigation by the police authorities reaches a logical conclusion and is not lost in the political noise of this entire matter. Mr. Krishna Sagar Rao, Khaliqur Rahman, Ashpreet Singh Kadyal, and Mr. A. Sai Shekhar. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the show. Well, shifting focus to another big development of the day, the face-off between the Congress and the BJP over Kashmir and its history once again has taken the centre stage today. None other than Union Law Minister Mr. Kiran Rijiju wrote exclusively for News18.com on the 75th anniversary of Kashmir accession. The Law Minister minced no words, and in the article titled 75th Anniversary of 5 Nehruvian Blunders on Kashmir, held that India's first Prime Minister is responsible for the present Kashmir issue, accusing him of giving priority to personal ambitions over national interests. My colleague Arunima in an exclusive conversation with none other than the Union Law Minister.
Thanks for that. Yes, we have a special guest this evening. Union Law Minister Kiran Rijiju has really stirred the hornet's nest by talking about Pandit Nehru's alleged historic blunders, which has led to the current situation in Jammu and Kashmir. Mr. Rijiju, sir, thank you so much for speaking to the viewers of CNN News 18. You've, of course, detailed the 5 blunders, as you call it, for Pandit Nehru. But if you can once again briefly summarize why you are calling it a historic blunder as far as his role in the Jammu and Kashmir problem is concerned.
Whatever I have stated through the article is to put the record straight and put it before the nation, because as an Indian, it is my duty, as the duty of any other Indian, to recognize and realize the mistakes which were committed by Nehruji. Now, this is a fact which I have not discovered. It is a fact which is there in the record. And the documents which I have quoted is from the parliament proceedings and what Nehru had stated in the Constituent Assembly and other materials and documents which are part of the history. I cannot change the history and nobody can change the history. Fact is fact. Now, for over last 75 years, the impression and the narrative being created is that Maharaja Ranjit Singh had acceded to join Indian Union only after it was attacked by the Kavilia, the Pakistani forces. When they attacked Jammu and Kashmir, then only Maharaja decided to join with the Indian Union, which is not correct, because Nehru himself has stated that Maharaja had approached to join Indian Union much before 15 August 1947. If the issue of Kashmir was treated just like any other princely states, then this whole issue of Kashmir as disputed territory or the whole debate and discussion would have never arisen. That is why we have to put the record straight, and I want to say that whatever blunders committed by Nehruji has been undone by Modiji, and today we are following a right step which every Indian must support.
Squarely on Pandit Nehru for the Kashmir problem, Jairam Ramesh actually joined issues with you and said that it was perhaps a collective decision. He's saying that Sardar Patel was on board with the idea, or he was okay with the idea of Kashmir joining hands with Pakistan till the time that Junagadh was coming to India. He's quoting around September 1947. Till that point, he says Sardar Patel was okay with that. So in your research, has anything come up which supports this position? You have to say anything about this position?
Now, what I'm saying is that the blunders which I had mentioned, now because of those blunders, India had to pay a heavy price, and we are still is handling those issues which were created by Nehruji. Now, once the Jammu Kashmir as a state is considered the inalienable part of India, and it is a matter of fact, nobody should dispute it. But despite Jammu and Kashmir being part of India, yet a portion of Jammu and Kashmir is still occupied by Pakistan, and a part of that area is ceded to China. So that is why it is more a matter which is still kind of unfinished task for the nation, that half of Jammu Kashmir is still under the occupation of Pakistan, which is illegal. So that is why, how can we remain silent when a blunder which was committed then is leading to the nation paying a heavy price? So can we ignore the fact? We cannot ignore the fact. And it is very important to realize the mistake. That is why I had also quoted Ambedkarji, who said that those who forget the history cannot make history. So it's better for everybody to admit the mistake, especially for those Congress party and some other people who are trying to defend Nehruji unnecessarily, to admit the fact. Let us admit the fact, and nothing wrong in admitting the fact, and let us move ahead and ensure that the blunders committed are handled in a proper way, so that we can at least retrieve those lost moments and do some corrective steps. And Modi ji has undone the mistakes committed by Nehruji.
Right. Modi ji, you're saying has taken steps, and then just to give you a background about how this entire debate between Jairam Ramesh and the Union Law Minister Kiran Rijiju began. Just to give you a background before I ask my next question, it was during an election rally in Gujarat that Prime Minister Modi, without taking any names, suggested that if Sardar Patel had perhaps handled the Kashmir issue like he handled Junagadh and Hyderabad, the result would have been different, to which Jairam Ramesh tweeted, and that was the reference which I made to the Law Minister right now. Jairam Ramesh tweeted and said that, it was because of the friendship between Sheikh Abdullah and Pandit Nehru that ultimately the popular opinion in Kashmir also sided in favor of India. He also suggested, like I just asked the Law Minister, that Sardar Patel was on board with the idea as far as joining hands with Pakistan of Kashmir is concerned. Jairam Ramesh suggested that till Junagadh joined India, Sardar Patel was okay with Kashmir going to Pakistan. Something that has been contradicted by those who are supporting the view that it was only and only a blunder made by the Prime Minister. But coming back to then Prime Minister Pandit Nehru's view, Mr. Kiran Rijiju, what, in your opinion, was this a genuine blunder, misreading of the situation, or is there some kind of a malafide do you suspect in this? Because you've spoken about the majority opinion in Jammu and Kashmir being given precedent over the view of the ruler opposed to the act of independence.
No, let us not go into the confusions which is created by some statesmen, some statements coming from some Congress leader or some people. I am not interested in going into that. The facts are before the public. The facts are not my creation. The facts are part of the records. And going by the records, it is very clear that the narratives which were being run since last 75 years must be now buried, and let us accept the fact, and the blunders were committed by Nehruji, and corrective steps are being done by Modi ji, and that is the fact. And I don't want to enter into debate. Actually, as I have stated, I am not going to give opinion on my own, because history is related to facts and figures, and those the events and those records which are there, these cannot be changed neither by my statement or nor by the undesirable attempts being made by the Congress leaders.
Congress, in fact, Mr. Rijiju, called you the greatest student of the WhatsApp University after your detailed article where you listed the 5 points, starting with, and you've detailed this in this article that you wrote for news18.com. Viewers, you can log on to news18.com and read that detailed article as well. But Mr. Rijiju, you started off by pointing out that how, much before the actual instrument of taxation was signed, in July itself, Maharaja Hari Singh, in Pandit Nehru's own words, this is what you have said, he sent feelers to Pandit Nehru that he wanted to accede to India. And then you narrated how Pandit Nehru, asked that this is a special case, and you've questioned why it was treated as a special case. You've also questioned why Pandit Nehru did not intervene even when Pakistan sent its raiders, militarily intervened in Jammu and Kashmir. You've also questioned how the decision to take this matter to United Nations and how that misadventure as far as plebiscite is concerned, that also was entered into. All of these points you have narrated there. But coming back to that question that I asked you, was this a genuine miscalculation and mistake or blunder, as you call it, by Pandit Nehru? Or do you think because of the population of Jammu and Kashmir, which was Muslim majority, and perhaps his friendship with Sheikh Abdullah, do you think there was any kind of vote bank politics at play here, or appeasement, as BJP often calls it, as far as the first family of Congress is concerned? Do you think that could have played a role as well when these decisions were taken, decisions which you call blunder?
I don't know what they are trying to prove. I am just putting out the things which every Indian should know. The nation must know the facts. That's all. I don't want to get into any debate and discussion. I just want to say that these records are there before the country, and we should go by records. We should go by facts, not by false narrative.
Right. Mr. Kiran Rijiju, they are refusing to enter into any kind of an argument with the Congress leaders who have called him the greatest product, the greatest student of WhatsApp University. That is what they have called his, reasoning, his logic. He's called the Kashmir problem result of a historic blunder by Pandit Nehru. Congress party has countered that, saying that he's just forwarding what is often peddled at WhatsApp, essentially meaning that this is not backed by historical fact. Kiran Rijiju counters it by saying that I'm not quoting anybody else. I'm bringing to you facts from Pandit Nehru's own speeches made in Parliament and made in other records vis-a-vis his communication with other leaders. So Kiran Rijiju's point of view there, being supported, of course, by senior ministers in the government, senior leaders of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and being dismissed totally by the Congress leaders. That is where matters stand at the moment. I don't think we've heard the last of this as far as Kashmir is concerned. So that's where matters stand.
Right. My colleague Arunima, in that exclusive conversation with the Union Law Minister, he has reiterated those charges that he wrote in that article for news18.com. That conversation with the Union Law Minister and that article up on our website, news18.com. You can log in and read. And as Arunima said, the last has not been said yet. We're slipping into a very short break, but on the other side, a big step towards bridging the gender gap in Indian cricket.
Need him to